October 2023. And oh my, how time flies. Also today, the world marks the World Habitation Day, or World Habitat Day. And we want to stand in solidarity with people who have been devastated by the rigors of climate change. Devastated by floods, of course, earthquakes. It's not part of climate change, I should say, but of course, it's the wrath of nature. Also, we can remember people who have been displaced by also the challenges of hurricanes and tornadoes, right? When we remember the global north, where this is adversely affecting many people. Today, we want to, of course, focus on politics. As far as we know, its standpoint is where we look at policy issues, legislative issues as well, that has been dominating the week that has been, and also how the week will pan out to be. Remembering today also is the resumption of the national dialogue talks at the Bomas of Kenya. And this week as well, we expect the former CJ, David Maraga, to unveil the report of the police reforms. That is a task force that was going about the country trying to get sentiments of Kenyans regarding police and what should be done as far as a police service is concerned, morphing it from police force to police service. We shall be looking at that. And also we shall be looking at what is happening on the matters academia right now. We know on the National Assembly there has been a heated debate regarding the reforms in the education sector. This is after the Presidential Working Party presented their reports, and we can see a smidgens of policies being put out into the public, and now the legislators are raising hesitation with this, saying some of these policies have not been endorsed by the National Assembly. And now there is a big debate on that as well. We shall show you what that really portends. We are joined this morning by Richard Onyonka, who is a senator of Kisii. Also be joined by Oboko Milemba, who is the Member of Parliament Emuhaya, also a member of the Education Committee. Eden Kanan, Member of Parliament Eldaz, also shall be joined this morning. Let me try and recollect. My mind is, or the name is eluding me right now. And we shall be joined as well. I'll tell you that name much later. It's eluding me. And then we shall continue a pace with the conversation. Also, Donson Mungatana. Why? How could I forget him? I think last week he was not here. That's why it's eluding my mind and my notes are not here. But yes, those are the conversations we shall be looking at, and the raft of other issues as well. Make sure you chime in. You can drive a show with me. Hit me on Twitter. That is at Dibalanea. Now it is X, not Twitter. Or also you can follow us at KTN News as well. But let's see what is fresh off the press this morning. This is what you're waking up to on the front page of the Standard today. Puzzle, all the government living large is what is headlining the front page of the Standard this morning. Extraordinary appetite. Economists reacting to the controller of budgets, it says. Reports say, in spite of the cost of living going through the roof, state officials are yet to tame their spending habits, splashing money with wanton abandon on things that can be avoided. This story continues on page 4 of the Standard this morning. 3.9 billion shillings, that is the amount government spent on fuel in the last 1 year. Also 30 million shillings, the amount government will spend on a political event to showcase its progress. The tragedy is that while the executive continues to waste resources, they continue to tell the public to sacrifice and tighten their belts. Yet Kenyans know the pain on pay slips and on taxes is going to fund such waste. You have a story on page 4 of the Daily Nation. This is a sentiment there by Patrick Mwinde, who is an economist. The government living on splurges right now, puzzle of a government living large, and you can follow the story of the extraordinary appetite. Also, corporate bosses call for a review of education reports, and this story is on page 2 of the Standard this morning, and you can see the face there of a legislator. Mr. Mboko there is here with us in studio already, and he'll be also unveiling to us what really this portends so far moving forward. Animal feeds makers in the soup over prices. That is on business pages of the Standard today. And one blow at a time, as practice makes perfect. Read all about it on page 37 of the Standard. It's all about boxing. On the sidebar, Haiti mission not a walk in park. Veterans and civil society warn Kenyan police are ill-prepared to take on the ruthless gangs in the Caribbean nation. That is what we have on page 6 of The Standard today. Also, remember you have your health and science pull-out magazine coming your way inside The Standard today every Monday. Why I became a vasectomy champion, and it's all about family planning. So you can get all the details there inside The Standard this morning. This is how it looks. The Daily Nation, death on campus is a splash. Gone too soon. The joint tertiary institutions full of life and hopeful of a bright future, and then they are found dead. College should be a place where students got to acquire knowledge and hone essential life skills, but it's becoming all too common for parents to pick up the bodies and shatter dreams of their children. Why does it happen? Who's at fault? And how can young people get help? That is the burning question. Read all about this in the Higher Education Pullout magazine inside the Daily Nation on page 2 as well. You have that story. And this is some of the faces of, so far, the students who have lost their lives. We have Gregory Mutinda, who's 24, Technical University, Mombasa. Also, we have Teresia Wawira, University of Nairobi School of Law. We have Samantha Nyawira, Muranga University Tourism. Ivy Wangeshi, Moi University School of Medicine. We have also Marcy Gerono, who was 18 years old, Daystar University, Bachelor of Nursing. We have also William Mayange, Maseno University, Bachelor of Education. June Jerop Kangongo, Kenyatta University Master Student. And those are some of the faces that went too soon. And you can read all about it inside the Daily Nation this morning. It's a field day for 5-star Kenyans in Latvia outing. That is what we have as another story. The Kenya National Anthem reverberated 5 times yesterday on the shores of the scenic Daugava River that snakes through Latvian capital Riga and bowels into Baltic Sea. This was to celebrate Kenyan victories in the men's and women's half marathon races alongside the women's 5-kilometer triumph and 2 team titles in the men's and women's half marathons at inaugural World Athletics Road Running Championships in Riga. This story continues on page 38, 39 and 40 of the Daily Nation this morning. Also, looking on top here at the teaser, Alton's from Kibera in 10 years declares Ruto as he roots for his housing plan. That is a story that you want to read inside the Daily Nation on page 4. And 6 in 10 Africans living with diabetes not aware of their condition. That is a new study there that reveals this. And this story continues on page 12 of the Daily Nation this morning. Remember also your junior sport comes in handy inside the Daily Nation every Monday. You can give that to your kids this morning to get all the wise as far as also some examination papers are concerned that are tucked away inside the Daily Nation. Kenya among Africa's top 10 cholera nations. That is what we have as a splash here. Very devastating news. World Health Organization says country has 7th largest outbreak in Africa, and it might worsen. This story continues on page 4 and 5 of the Star. Outbreak there, the disease has killed 202 Kenyans according to the latest figures. And also still on the front page of the Star, Kenyans shine at the World Athletics Championship in Latvia. And you can see them breaking the band here. That is Paris Chepchirchir winning women's global half marathon in Riga, Latvia, right? Also, we have Sebastian Kimaru Sabe crossing over the finishing line to win men's half marathon in Riga yesterday. Congratulations are in order to our athletes here. This is the Star. Will make Kibra slum respectable living space in 10 years. This is what the president is promising, and you can follow the story inside the Star this morning. Let's see what we have on the front page of the Taifa Leo. Ndani ya tsunami, kesi kupinga mazungumzo riara ya rais, upinzani Azimio ni visiki. A lot of msamiati there. You can follow the story on page 2. Pressure, kinara wa Azimio ajipata katika mawimbi makali ya siasa, huku akisubiri matokeo ya kamati ya maridhiano. You can follow the story on page 2 of Taifa Leo this morning. And Kenya ya tamalaki duniani, that is the story that you want to follow inside the Taifa Leo this morning. And you can see Chepchirchir there and Sebastian Sawe making us proud. All that tucked away inside Taifa Leo this morning. Let's buckle down to some business, where the rise of big government as Ruto starts second year is what is hogging the headline this morning on the front page of the Business Daily. Big spending on social plans signal heavier tax burden, private business at risk of being crowded out. Government spending on social programs such as universal health coverage and affordable housing is set to rise in the second year of the William Ruto administration, setting up workers, households and businesses for a heavier tax burden. Dr. Ruto, who marked his first anniversary as president mid-last month, last week called for a speedy passage of a social health insurance bill to pave the way for the establishment of a fund to which salaried workers will contribute 2.75% of a gross monthly salary. That story continues on page 2 of the Business Daily. Saudi Arabia posts fastest growth in Kenya diaspora inflows. That is another story that you want to follow on page 5 of the Business Daily this morning. And also, bus operators primed to save 8,600 shillings daily. That is on fuel cost, as electric, of course, vehicle takes the switch. Bus operators are the biggest winners in the switch to electric vehicles. You can read the rest of the details there on page 4. And 25 new hotels planned as tourism recovers, and banks in race to stabilize SMEs, averting mass defaults, I should say. And that story continues on page 13 of the Business Daily this morning. Let's cross over now to Uganda, where the splash is all about how UWA officials ate gorilla billions. And that story continues on page 4 and 5 of the Daily Monitor. And Day of the Elderly also was marked yesterday worldwide. We can see all the persons asking government for more. And that is the story to follow also inside the Daily Monitor. Are you sexually active? Here is how to avoid pelvic diseases. And that is tucked away in the Healthy Living magazine inside the Daily Monitor. Congolese star Fally Ipupa takes Uganda by storm. He was there over the weekend, and you can read all about it also inside the Daily Monitor. In Tanzania, traders count losses in new Kariakoo fire. That is Kariakoo in Tanzania. It was agony for traders in Kariakoo yet again yesterday after a major fire broke out and razed businesses in the bustling area for the second time in 2 years. You can follow the story inside the Citizen if you're waking up in Tanzania this morning, and how local content can stem illicit financial flows, and NMB set to boost diaspora remittances. Read all about it inside the Citizen. In Rwanda, time is now to realize the Africa we want. EU officials in Kigali are saying this, and you can see a family photo there, members of African Union Executive Council and other officials posing for a group photo during the opening session of a 3-day retreat in Kigali on Sunday. The high-level meeting held under the theme Accelerating the Implementation of Agenda 2063 will discuss the second decade of Agenda 2063, among other things. This story continues on page 2 of New Times this morning. Also, dedicated bus lanes, why CBD sonotubes, Giboroso Road was selected. All about it tucked away on page 3. How a tailor's sons drew inspiration to empower vulnerable female artisans. Also, you can read that inspiring story on page 4 and 5 of the New Times this morning. The East African this week is headlining the story of the exit of Amit from Somalia. And the question is, to live or not? Somalia mission left in a flat spin. Troop contributing countries support Mogadishu's quest for pause of ATMIS drawdown, even as a way to African Union and UN Security Council's decision. But who will pay the bill? That is a question. You have the story on page 4 and 5 of the East African this week. This is how it looks. Also, we want to just show you what is on top there on the money. Alarm as Port of Mombasa in a spiral. Also on the markets, high investors lost 5 billion shillings in East African markets. And you can read the rest of the details there inside the East African. Tanzania goes for Plan B in SGR project. Officials turn to Sweden, Spain, Africa Development Bank as Turkish contractor derailed, and also bittersweet side of the Uganda oil and gas. From dirt paths to new tarmac roads, an airport, and new iron roof houses. Hoima, Bulisa, Kiube, Noya have a story to tell. And you can read the story on page 25 of the New Times of the East African, not the New Times, this week. And of course, before we show you the weather, we can give you a pick-me-up quote. And this is from Zig Ziglar, who is saying, until you're happy with who you are, you will never be happy with what you have. Until you're happy with who you are, you will never be happy with what you have. Let's see how the weather will be today. That's how the weather will be. President William Ruto has urged national leaders to join forces and pull together to help the country move forward. The head of state, who spoke at the Deliverance Church Langata here in Nairobi, also defended some of his key government projects, saying they will yield fruits in due course. As he spoke in Nairobi, his deputy Rigathi Gachagua announced that the Kenya Kwanza administration had symbolically washed its hands on the impeachment matter of Meru Governor Kawira Mwangaza, urging the local leaders to deal with the issues on their own. KTN's political affairs reporter Emmanuel Toh starts us off.
Speaking when he attended a church service at the Deliverance Church in Langata constituency, President William Ruto dived into the ongoing discussions to have leaders speak in one voice, even as the country continues with the national dialogue to find consensus on the sticky issues. The head of state urging national leaders to join forces and look into the future to address the issues bedeviling the country.
Na waomba viongozi katika taifa letu la Kenya tushirikiane. Siasa tulimaliza wakati wa uchaguzi, sasa ni nafasi yetu kuungana. Na nataka niwashukuru hasa wabunge wa taifa letu la Kenya, wametusaidia kupitisha sheria.
President Ruto also defended some of his infrastructural programs, such as the affordable housing project.
Hiyo mpango ya housing, sababu yake ni mbili. Ya kwanza, sio manyumba zaidi, ni ajira zaidi. Nia yetu ni kuhakikisha tunajenga nyumba 1,200 Kenya mzima. Hapa Nairobi peke yake, mpango yetu ni kwamba in the next 5 years, tuwe tumejenga at least nyumba 1,200.
In Nairobi wezi wamegeuka, ndio wanaita wengine wezi. Lakini hata tunaambia mambo ni matatu. Wajichagulie ile inarifaa kwao. But we will not accept it. Nixon has said, land grabbers, we told them, those who have taken public land, we are telling them.
The president also announced plans by the government to import 7 million bags of fertilizer next year to boost production and address the issue of the high cost of living.
Tumepanga tena sasa mwaka ujao. Ile mbolea tulitumia karibu magunia milioni 4, tunapanga magunia milioni 7 ya mwaka ujao. Kwa sababu tunataka kuzalisha chakula zaidi.
Several kilometers away, his deputy Rigathi Gachagua, who had moved in to quell the growing tension in the running of Meru County, announced the government was distancing itself from the wrangles in the county, urging the leaders to sort out their mess on their own.
Tumeongea na deputy governor, tumeongea na governor, tumeongea na viongozi na tumekubaliana. Hii ni shida ya Meru. Hao viongozi, watu ya kanisa wameuliza Rais William Ruto na mimi tukae kando. Muketi and decide what is good for Meru.
The statement, which earned him a standing ovation, receiving praise from the leaders who were in attendance and have been pushing for Mwangaza's impeachment.
If I find any leader katika hii mulima anatumika kugawanya hii jamii, nitamtangaza mchana. Wakati ikifika, nitachukua bendera niseme huyu na huyu na huyu ndio wenye kugawanya hii jamii.
Nyinyi fanyeni kazi yenu, tutawasaidia, lakini Meru hatutaki kuendelea kuwa na aibu. Nataka kuwashukuru sababu ninyi mmesema Meru acha ninyi mjipange wenyewe. Kwa hivyo rais, kwa hivyo Deputy President, nakushukuru sana, na ukiona rais mwambie sisi wa Meru tumefurahia.
Kabla ya Desemba, gavana wa Meru atakuwa amesafiri kwa wingi.
Mwangaza gave the event a wide berth, with her deputy Isaac Mutuma capitalizing on her absence to make a case for the second impeachment motion that is gathering pace.
Hata kama watu wanatafuta impeachment, you can't get an answer minus a formula. Huwezi kuweka impeachment ambayo hauna grounds.
Meru County MCAs are this week expected to consider the motion to impeach the governor, whose fate now hangs in the balance 10 months after another impeachment that was stopped by the Senate. Emmanuel Cho, KTN News.
Now, the National Dialogue Committee will resume sitting today to listen to petitions from, among other political parties and senators. Grace Nyanga reports on what to expect from the talks this week.
With the hearing submissions almost coming to an end, political parties will be making their pitch Monday, giving recommendations on what to be adopted by the National Dialogue Committee. Kenya Kwanza, Jubilee and the Azimio la Umoja One Kenya coalition are among the political parties that will be presenting their memoranda. Last week's sessions were dominated with calls to audit the 2022 presidential elections and additional counties. Seems UDA is not willing to engage in that talk. UDA Secretary General Cleophas Malala has said they will be recommending for the committee to drop the agenda seeking to audit the 2022 polls as the matter was settled by the Supreme Court.
Uchaguzi ambayo iliisha tulimaliza, tukaenda Supreme Court. Rais wa Jamhuri ya Kenya ni William Samoei Ruto na haturudi nyuma. We are not going to open that. So as we present our memorandum tomorrow, that will come out very clear that we are not going back into the trenches to discuss the elections that already were conducted in 2022.
For Azimio, however, they are adamant that the committee will address the issues that Azimio la Umoja had with President Ruto's election to presidency, with the calls to audit the results being backed by former IEBC commissioners, famously known as Cherera 4.
If we wanted to verify the results that were announced today, if we want to do a verification, is the system that you put in place secure? Is it verifiable? Can we open and see what is in those servers?
That when we were in Greece, we didn't even know that there were two ballot papers. Ballot paper 1 of 1 and ballot paper 1 of 2. And that's why we are saying we should open the servers, include even ballot boxes, because we don't know if all the ballot papers, the two sets, were used or not.
The parties will also be addressing historical injustices that have condemned some communities to years of marginalization, with calls for additional counties. Former Attorney General Githu Muigai, in his presentation last week, said the constituencies should rather be reduced and a few political positions scrapped, as Parliament has too many leaders. According to Muigai, political positions should be reduced by scaling down the number of counties. that have forced the government to make excessive expenditures.
We should be reducing constituencies, not increasing. We have too many counties. We should reduce counties, not increase counties. They are costing us a lot of money, and quite a number of them are not viable. To abolish the seat of the woman representative completely.
Kuna mzee anaitwa Githu Muigai ameanza kuleta madharau, na hiyo ni kiburi kwa Wakenya. Wewe wakati ulikuwa Attorney General, mbona hukufanya mambo haya? Wachana na sisi, wachana na president, wachana na serikali ya saa hii, ielekeze Wakenya mahali panafaa.
The IEBC selection panel, chaired by Dr. Nelson Makanda, and Senators Nedama Olekina of Narok, Ena Kwamboa of Kitui, Tom Ojena of Kisumu, and Samson Cherargei of Nandi will also be submitting their memoranda. Grace.
All right, we shall be telling that story for you today. And we have prominent figures from the Kenya Kwanza leadership who have strongly responded to Anglican Archbishop Jackson Ole Sapit and Catholic Archbishop Anthony Muheria, accusing them of unjustly criticizing the government. Speaking during a fundraising event held in Ainamoi constituency, the majority leader in the National Assembly, Kimani Ichung'wah, Aaron Cheriot, the Senate majority leader, and Dr. Eric Mutai, the Kericho governor, and Beatrice Kemei, the Kericho women representative, vehemently contested the claims made by the two clergymen. They asserted that, contrary to Ole Sapit and Muheria's allegations of government rhetoric, it was committed to improving the lives of Kenyans citizens.
Kukosoana sababu tunawaheshimu viongozi wetu wa kanisa. Ole Sapit, usiwe na matusi, sababu kusema serikali ni rhetoric na uhesabu ile kazi inafanyika. Na tunajua wewe hauwezi kuona sababu una kiongozi wako unayemuona. Ni kama yule mwingine wa Catholic anaitwa Muheria. Muheria aseme asiseme, tunajua anasema kwa niaba ya nani. Ole Sapit aseme asiseme, tunajua msimamo wake uko wapi. Kwa hivyo tunataka tumwambie Ole Sapit, tunakuheshimu, but please don't be blind to the reality of our country today.
Hii team wanakuja kureflect na kufanya ile kazi ya president. Kwa hivyo tukikuja hapa siku ya leo tunafanya ile kazi president alisema kwa na timu ya Kenya Kwanza in all the churches including here kanisa.
We have agreed as a council that we will not reduce our churches to only be functional at the time of campaigns. That we only attend 5 churches in a matter of 2 hours because we need prayers and we need people. But we are saying the journey is going to shift and we are going to work with them from day 1 until our 5 years term end.
Right, and lastly, we have Kamba leaders who have urged Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua to respect Wiper Party leader Kalonzo Musyoka. Speaking after a Sunday service at Kayani ABC Church in Kadiani constituency, Machakos Governor Ovinya Ndeti and also among other leaders saying the Deputy President had repeatedly attacked Kalonzo during his visits in Ukambani. They said the Kamba community will rally behind Kalonzo Musyoka in the 2027 general election.
We are not happy when somebody comes here more than 30 minutes. The person you're speaking about is His Excellency Kalonzo. More than 30-45 minutes. Ikiongelewa maneno ya mtu moja. Wajamani, enda waambie huyu pia ni mtoto wetu.
Wavinya Ndeti's sentiments were echoed by Kadhiani MP Robert Mbui.
Rigiji, ukikuja Ukambani, pea Wakamba heshima. Usitukane Kalonzo. Kwa sababu akianza kuongea Kalonzo, akiendelea Kalonzo, akimaliza Kalonzo. Na sisi tunasema this is our father. If you don't respect him, we will not respect you.
Mbui also called out leaders seeking extension of the presidential term limit to 7 years.
Sasa mkiongeza miaka ije tena another 7 years. Na mnajua kweli Kenya hii, nasema wacha tuseme ukweli. Kiti ilikuwa Central Kenya. Ikatoka Central ikaenda Rift. Ikakaka ikarudi Central. Sasa imeenda Rift. Na mnasema muongeza miaka 7. Na sisi wengine tutafikiwa lini?
Trade CS Moses Kuria, who was also attending the same service, said he had immense respect for Kalonzo and he has trust the dialogue between the government and Azimio, which is led by Kalonzo Musyoka, will bear fruits.
Ile kazi unafanya pale katika mambo ya dialogue, mambo ya bipartisan. Mimi kwangu niko hapo ndani kabisa. I am one person who is supporting these bipartisan talks fully. Na sio kwa sababu mimi ni muoga. Hata watu wengi mimi wananijua mimi ni mtu ya vita.
Former Vice President Kalonzo Musyoka was in attendance and said he's hopeful that the dialogue will materialize and will benefit Kenyans.
Hawaaminiani, wanachukiana for nothing. Na ndio tukasema tuzungumze. Even the Bible, I think, Bishop, remember, come let us reason together.
Kalonzo also urged the government not to subject Kenyans to more taxes.
Hii mambo ya taxation, tumefika mahali, we are not going to help you anymore, Moses and Kenya Kwanza government. We will not help you. We'll continue to tell our people, we did our best. Tuliandamana, tukasema maisha imekuwa impossible, amusiki. Bas, you cannot develop a country with heavy taxation.
Kalonzo again asked the government to audit the recently concluded government recruitment, saying majority were recruited from a certain community.
The recently concluded exercise, a recruitment of our young men and women to join the defense forces. Vile umetueleza hapa, watatu kutoka this county, this constituency, get a correct audit.
Other leaders present were Agnes Kavindu, Senator Machakos, Joyce Kamene, Woman Rep Machakos County, among others.
All right, today's editorial cartoons inside the dailies. This is what God has drawn for us. The KK circus continues apace, according to him. And we have all manner of things happening there, from the tiger paper pointing to, of course, the Mount Kenya, from everyone showing, the CSs showing each other the middle finger there, the blankety blank expletives. People walking away with the monies, of course, bags of monies there. You can see notes jutting out or dropping from that gunny bag. We have the Slay Queens as well. We have the foreign policy witchcraft as well flying there on the broom as well. And all manner of suckers happening, juggling frogs, as they normally say it, and transport sector as well. We have the PR section as well there. And we have him, right, the leader of Kenya Kwanza, saying, come on, give me a break. This is work in progress. Right, this is work in progress, as you can see it there. This is in the Standard. And we have also the Daily, not the Daily Nation, but the Star with Ozone. And it's all about UDA and the NDC and the quest for more parties to join them. This, you can see the Secretary General now trying to dish out the party shirts to some of the party leaders of other parties that is affiliate to the Kenya Kwanza. We have Ford Kenya, we have ANC, amongst other parties that are being entreated to now fold up so that they can join UDA. And this has been, of course, sparking a lot of debate. And the president was very categorical that you're not shoehorned to actually join the party. You can join it willfully. This is what has been drawn inside the Star today. And we have also unemployment that is a niggling worry, according to Stano in the People Daily today. And they're teetering there on the edge of now falling into crime unless we are dealing decisively with the issue of unemployment so far. And the president also had premises that on the digital highway we'll have also a number of jobs popping up and trying to stem this rising tide of unemployment in the country. Still, with the UDA, these are other dailies that were there over the weekend. UDA, we can see the Secretary General trying to paint the NC leader there, yellow there. And also, we are waiting now for the thumbs up from the United Security Council, United Nations Security Council, to give us the go-ahead, of course, with the Haiti deployment there, and we are doing God's will. That is according to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, as depicted there. Of course, you can see that particular cradle and the telephone head. The wire is jutting out from the heavens. We are doing God's will. That is what now Victor has drawn us, of course, regarding that particular deployment as well. On a lighter note, I want to, of course, hear from our panelists this morning. We're joined this morning by the Member of Parliament from Emuhaya, also the Chair of Kupet. This is Milembe Omboko. Also, we're joined by the Senator of Kisii, Richard Onyonka. We're joined by Eden Kanan, who is a Member of Parliament from Eldas. We're eagerly waiting to be joined by Danson Mugatana, the Senator of Tana River, to thrash out a lot of issues as well, just to welcome them this morning and to just hear from them and their constituencies where they have been. Especially on this side of the track, we've never been here with Omboko. Milembe, good morning, good to see you.
Morning.
Karibu sana, thank you for joining us up and early. Yes?
But I think I'm back.
You're back. It's been quite a while. But it's good to see you. Right. Also, we have the senator right from Turukana. It was quite a week in Turukana. We saw you doing a lot of combing here and there, questioning a lot of things regarding the failed projects, the stalled projects, the governor's residence that is still in tatters, not yet completed. We're looking at almost 1 billion shillings that cannot be accounted for. But good to see you.
If you were in that delegation, it's quite fascinating. I mean, the things we saw, how money has been misappropriated and mismanaged, and it's shocking. Actually, for me, the reality was when the chair, Kajwang, was raising the issue, and when we did the maths, Turkana County has received 114 billion in the last 10 years. And I mean, it's a crying shame. It's a crying shame.
It's a crying shame.
Yeah.
It's a crying. You'll tell us more about it. Let's just hear from Kanan as well. He has been missing for the last 2 weeks.
Yes, thank you so much. I think speaking from where the Senate has left, that gives us an opportunity to really review the entire devolution mechanism.
Yes.
And look at it critically, because we have been with him, for those of us who have been proponents of devolution. Yes, it has made a lot of positive contributions, but equally there are a lot of also pitfalls, and these are things that we need to clearly as a country interrogate without the politics of the day, because that is where we have fought very hard to have resources devolved. Are we benefiting? Are the communities benefiting? Because ideally the essence of having devolution was to have something in the form of a Marshall Plan to allow all regions of this country actually to benefit from the national cake. So instead of dealing with just historical reports in our archives, it's good we face the facts while they are still fresh and correct if there are mistakes, whether it's through legislation, whether it is through administration, whether it's through public pronouncement, whether it's through attitudinal change. This is the time that we need to deal with the crisis actually in devolution.
So it's so refreshing to have so to speak boots on the ground, so that you're not speaking from the archives point of view. You have the reality as you can see it, not from the reports, that face to face.
What was funny is that, what was interesting is that, of course, my chair Mugatana was also there. It is overwhelming to actually sit in our committee and listen to members of the county assembly say, we thought our job is to come here and work with the governor. We are not supposed to oversight. They know nothing about, in other words, for them, the constitution was designed in such a manner that MCAs work for the governor until further notice. Number two, the issue that Honorable Kenan has raised, the Senate Mashinani event which we went through, and as I said, my leader, Honorable Mugatana, was also there, was actually really amazing, because we were on the ground. You go and see a building physically, and it's overwhelming. I mean, Dibal, what was amazing and shocking is that around the month of August last year, just before the elections, I think it was around July, August, 290 million shillings is withdrawn from a bank account in cash from the county assembly fund. How do you do that?
The election is just
I think Deval, sorry, we have to be fair. We have to remain alive. With due respect to my friend, there are parliamentary procedures. The report is still before the Senate. I'm sure the senators are here. Let's not delve very much into it because we'll be preaching our own procedures.
I wanted to mention,
but I think one thing
before you stopped me, what I wanted to say is that this is what the Auditor General's report has
put in the public domain. Yeah.
And when we were asking, that is why I wish you had allowed me to finish. When we were asking, how did you people do this? They said, we don't know.
All right.
That is the bit, before Mungatana. You see, over the last 15 years, we have been struggling to have at least some minimum educational qualification for our members of the county assembly. Today, I'm told quite a number of them are illiterate. How do you oversight when you have to look for an assistant to help you to go through the books of account? This is a fallacy about our country. So until we have some sort of basic standardization, it's difficult. That is what we have opted to have.
I don't think they are illiterate.
I'm just saying quite a number of them.
Quite a number of them are illiterate.
But most of them have done their Form 4 and
that is what
is the highest level of education and the basic level. Like in Behiga, I don't see any illiterate.
Okay, that might be unique. That might be unique. But that might be unique. But generally, out of the 2,000, the 1,450 elected and plus 500, close to 500 actually nominated, we need to have some basics. We can't have our cake and eat it. The other bit is, if devolution fails, we will hold our senators and our members of county assembly squarely responsible, because that is their constitutional mandate. So instead of waiting for reports from the Auditor General and other government agencies, go to the field, oversight, invoke Article 95 of the Constitution and deal with these issues when they are still fresh. Giving us garbages that have been done 10 years ago, 5 years ago will not assist. The money will have gone.
Yeah, but if we have Mboko and you now talking about go to the field, oversight, have your boots on the ground, you don't want to facilitate them. When they say we need around 5 billion shillings for the senators to get the facilitation on the ground.
No, it's not true. Every member is already facilitated. Every member, whether in the National Assembly or in the Senate, is already facilitated because we have constituency or county allocations. And I was the architect. So I don't want to delve into this because every member is facilitated, but we need to facilitate our senators. We need to give them the Senate Oversight Fund so that
that's what I'm saying.
Because they are billions.
That's what I'm saying.
The
Senators Fund.
We ought to have given them yesterday. We need to give them this so that they properly deal with these manners of corruption actually in our counties.
You have been the impeding wire, the tripping wire for the senators. You say you will have to facilitate them when it goes to the floor of the House, and of course, it issue comes to the floor of the House. You don't do it.
It won't take us too long. We are actually dealing with that in Parliament, and our law is in the process. It's currently under the committees that are concerned for the Senate Oversight Committee. So it's work in process, really. And it's going on. It's
a working in progress, but you've been
actually... It's taken a lot of time, but we are working on it.
All right. Let me...
We want the senators to be facilitated to actually oversight governors and everything under devolution, because like he did say correctly so, is an area where wastage and pilferage is really hard. So we are working on it.
It's been working in progress for the longest time. Yeah, so you know when it comes to the floor of the House,
every parliament has got no responsibility of the previous one.
Let's hear from Mungatana.
You'll be the lucky one. It will come during this time.
What I can battle in terms of the contribution on this point is...
no, we can begin from Turkana. What has been your assessment so far coming to years? Yeah.
You know, governors have been very good at standing out in public, giving statements to the COG, the Council of Governors. They stand up and they have been saying many times, we have not received money from the Treasury. Treasury, please disburse this money. You are affecting our operations. You are doing what? But very, very, in fact, I don't recall any time that they have stood up to say we have billions of shillings unaccounted for. So they are good at asking, but they are not good at being accountable to the monies that are being, because the issues with governors, and if you go like to Tana River now, the issue is, where's our money? There's no money circulating within Tana River County. Where's the money? And the governor is not able to explain. He keeps on saying that there are these projects and the other projects and we need money. So he is a reflection of what the county chiefs have been doing. Very good at asking, very poor at accounting to the people. Even to stand up and say, on this department, on health, we have allocated this amount of money. It may not be enough, so we are waiting for supplementary to add this amount of money. The projects that are priorities, this, simple things of accounting. We have been able to find that this amount of pilferages within my county, so this is the action I've taken. I've fired so and so, we have filed a report with the ESC, we have done this, we've taken this to DCI, this is clear theft. Governors have not been able to be to do proper accountability for the monies they receive. But that aside, Turkana also was a clear demonstration of what sessional paper number 10 of 1965 did to this country. That paper by Thomas J. Mboya, then economic minister for Kenya, just after independence, said that Kenya is going to invest money in high potential areas that are going to return money. So you'll find areas such as Tana River, Marsabit, Isiolo, the northern coast, areas like Turkana were left out. So when you go there, you see a clear demonstration of what we are talking about. They were telling us the road that has just been built has just happened in the last 2 years, Yes. Well, they were telling us there's no water. The Lodwar itself, the capital,
has no water.
There's no water. No. It is very difficult, and the river is passing there. That is the Takwel River is passing there. Lodwar is not connected to the national grid, the electricity grid. So their amount of money they spend for getting electricity is maybe double, triple what you spend here in Nairobi. Why? Because they have to generate it using petroleum and diesel generators. So you're having bad mistakes that were made that really made this country two separate development. You have areas where titles were issued, water was done, hospitals were built when we had a unitary system. And then you have areas where roads were not done, water was not collected, people were just left to their own devices. And we are paying for this many years after independence. So again, I would expect the administration, and I hope they're all listening, that in this administration of Ruto, because he also comes from a difficult area, he knows that terrain, and we've been campaigning, and he's aware he's an old man, an old hand in this business. The country needs to do positive discrimination. We need to actually be purposeful about putting money in these counties that have been, over the period of time, neglected. And we need to actually be specific that we are going to do roads here so that we create the potential, we tap the potential that has been left idle.
Thank you.
So, and on top of that, I think the government should be very focused or more purposeful in following governors in those particular areas. I think even they should pay more attention than in these other sides. Why? Because those areas need special attention. Apart from national government allocations, they also need to follow up on the management. What I'm saying is this: we have not seen arrests of sitting governors like it happened.
The last 10 good years, isn't it?
Yeah, like it happened in Nigeria.
Yeah.
In Nigeria, when they brought these things, people started, they don't want to run for those positions because some president came in and made sure that people started doing things, the correct things. We want to see arrests and not those dramas, but properly collected evidence and putting someone to DS. We are asking those questions so that in these counties, yes, let's pump in resources, but let's have accountability.
We were exposed, the governors were really exposed, just supporting what Hon Mungatana is saying. And even the members of parliament, all of us were exposed because like at the end of the financial year recently, you know, all the money had been sent to the counties. And that's why it's very now impossible to just say we want money.
Yeah.
You know, we had been put in this situation whereby we thought money is never really sent there. But by the end of financial year, all the money was with the governors, all the money was with members of parliament. So really, eyes are on us, and eyes are on those governors specifically, to actually be seen that they're actually doing the job, because the money is with them. Number two, and finally, because I wouldn't want to take too long, we are a big panel, is the issue of the areas that are marginalized. You know, as a chairman of the teachers, I do go around the country, especially twice in 5 years, and it's desperate. When I arrived in Tana River, my friend, and those areas that he's talking about, you just wonder whether we are correct, because students learn under the trees, and we could see it, we could stop and see. So there's a serious need. He mentioned sessional paper number 10 of 1965 by Tom Mboya. We can't vilify Mboya. I'm a teacher of history government. It worked then, but it really left out those areas. And a deliberate effort must be done to give them some attention.
Some attention, but it is refreshing, Omboko, you must admit as well, that we can get these fresh reports from the senators on the ground. For me, it feels very refreshing that now they are actually having documented evidence. When they go there, they come with the documented evidence, a report of what is happening on the ground. Before we come to you, let's just hear from Senator Onyonka.
Thank you. I think for me, the other issue that I observed, which is quite, which is shocking, and the current governor, the sitting governor now, spent some time to discuss with us. We were shocked. I mean, Dibal, I've been an MP for quite a while. I'm a senator now. I don't know what Turkana is until when I was there last week. I mean, Turkana has gold. Turkana has gold, the oil. Turkana has enough water with projects which I was shocked we were given the data, with projects which just needed about 16 to 17 billion shillings, and Turkana would have enough water to supply half of Kenya with fresh water. All that water needed was salination to take place, desalination. It has an aquifer, about 2-3 aquifers were informed. Ukochini. And this can be done.
It can water this country for the next
70, 100 years. Yes. And yet it's like nobody's interested. It's like nobody cared. I mean, the amount of livestock that Turkana people have. Why is it that we are not able to have the Ministry of Livestock really deliberately invest in Turkana and make sure that the animals are fattened and sold Kenya Meat Commission, so that you can uplift the standards of the Turkana people? I mean, you have schools. It is so hot, and yet our government, and these are the historical mistakes. Why are we not using solar energy? You know, in a place like Turkana, the kids are learning in hot classrooms. The teachers these are things which were shocking to us. And I think another thing that I also observed, which was very great, is that the current government, the sitting governor and his team, the county assembly, they are actually seized of the issue. They have actually realized that unless they become prudent in the utilization of the funds, it is going to be, history is going to judge them very harshly. Yes.
Solar farms, aquifer, we've got enough resources, we don't tap into them, we're crying foul over and over. We cannot point back now to sessional paper number 10 of 1965 with Tom Mboya. The issue that is being raised as well, we have equalization fund, and this is the spirit of devolution that is meant to make sure that at least everyone is on an even keel as far as, you know, development is concerned. Yet that also still is a problem. Briefly, before we take a short break.
You know, we are very interesting. We are very interesting people. Everybody complains. Sessional paper number 10 was done with a purpose. Unfortunately, for those of us who come from northern Kenya, including Turkana, we benefited nothing. If anything, that particular document was used to stigmatize us and to create stereotypes that were used to deny us actually a portion of the national government. But having said that, I find it a bit strange for our members, for the senators actually to complain. They are supposed to be the solution. For those of us who are around when we promulgated the current constitution, we had different ideas. Some wanted a pure presidential system, and I keep on repeating this. Some wanted a pure parliamentary system. For those of us who come from the disadvantaged region, saying we need devolution. Once that was accepted, the next thing was who will oversight devolution? Create Senate. Senate was not actually in the picture at that particular time. What we had was a house of elders that will convene twice in a year. That idea led to the formation of this house called Senate. Now, when our senators are complaining,
this was under Majibo.
We are giving you the facts.
By design or default, by design or by default.
Okay, let him finish.
Allow me to say this. I will say
He's putting a case against you.
Yes, I will say that devolution has worked in my county, Wajir. It's courtesy of devolution that we have the first kilometer, 2, 3, 4, 5 kilometers of tarmac road. Maybe I will never have seen that in my life. So that is courtesy of devolution. But that doesn't mean that devolution is 100% working. What we need to do right now, we have independent offices. The Office of the Controller of Budget. We have the Office of the Auditor General, where I had the privilege of being a commissioner. We have the Senate. I think right now there's a bit of confusion. There's a bit of jurisdictional conflict between the Senate and the National Assembly. The senators should put their tools down and deal firmly with the issue of how resources are used and properly oversight our county government. Right now, we'll see everybody all over. Jurisdictional conflict with issues that are supposed to be within the domain of the National Assembly, issues that are supposed to be within the domain of the county government, through the senators. I think this is a time to say, look, we have had this over 10 years now. Let's do both summative and formative evaluation of the workings of the county government, in particular devolution. A lot of resources have been pumped, trillions of shillings actually over the last 10 years. Has it had an impact on the ground? The answer lies with the role of our friends here. This special house called Senate. Forget about these other national, the resources are at the counties. When my friend here, a very able senator, sits down and says he wants to oversight properly the county of Tana River, I can assure you everybody else will stop and listen to him. When a seasoned legislator, a product in his name, like Honorable Onyonga, sits down and says he wants to oversight, people will listen. But I think right now there is confusion. You know, there's helter-skelter. You do this today, the next thing you do this. Why will
can I say something? We need to take a short break.
Why will senators discover right now there was a road in Turkana 10 years after devolution? That ought to have been done within the first 1 year. So my take on this.
This is the first sitting we had, of course, them going on the ground.
To go, no. You see, I'll tell you this.
Okay. Can I get clarity? Allow me to just take a short break. When we get when we circle back, of course, we get clarity on that as well.
Yes.
And this is what we want to hear. Fresh reports from the ground as well. We'll continue with the debate, looking at what is happening in the counties. And we'll come to matters academia as well, because there is, of course, also a hesitation being raised on the floor of the House regarding the report of school or the reforms in the curriculum right now. We take a short break. You're watching Standpoint here on Morning Prime.